Lebanon's militant group Hezbollah has been exchanging fire with Israel across the border for days, threatening to expand the conflict between Israel and Palestinian group Hamas. But what is Hezbollah? Iran's Revolutionary Guards founded Hezbollah in 1982 in the middle of Lebanon's civil war. It was part of Iran's effort to export its Islamic revolution around the region and fight Israeli forces after their invasion of Lebanon in 1982. Hezbollah shares Tehran's Shiite Islamist ideology and went on to recruit Lebanese Shiite Muslims. The group has risen from a shadowy faction to a heavily armed force with major sway over the Lebanese state. It has ministers in government and lawmakers in parliament. Western countries, including the United States, designate Hezbollah as a terrorist organization. The US holds the group responsible for a suicide bombing that destroyed US Marine headquarters in Beirut in 1983, killing 241 servicemen. And Lebanese security officials and Western intelligence have said groups linked to Hezbollah carried out suicide attacks on Western embassies and kidnapped Westerners in the 1980s. Hezbollah leaders said those attacks were carried out by small groups not linked to Hezbollah. In 2021, Hezbollah leader Saeed Hassan Nasrallah said the group had 100,000 fighters. Iran gives Hezbollah weapons and money. The US estimates Iran has allocated it hundreds of millions of dollars annually in recent years. Hezbollah boasts weapons including precision rockets and drones. It demonstrated its military advances in 2006 during a 5-week war with Israel. It fired thousands of rockets into Israel during the conflict. 1,200 people were killed in Lebanon, mostly civilians, and more than 150 Israeli were killed, most of them soldiers. Many Lebanese Shiites support Hezbollah, saying the group defends Lebanon from Israel. However, Lebanese parties opposed to Hezbollah say the group unilaterally drags Lebanon into armed conflict by Iran. On October 7th, the day Hamas militants carried out an unprecedented assault into Israel, Hezbollah said it was in direct contact with the leadership of the Palestinian resistance. Since then, Hezbollah has exchanged cross-border fire with Israel numerous times.
Yeah, right. Now you have it on, yeah. So Hezbollah also hosts Hamas leadership in Beirut and South Lebanon as well. So what does Hezbollah mean? It's the party of Allah, it means. Hezbollah, the word in Arabic, means the party of Allah, and it was created by Iran in 1982. We'll talk more about this. So Hezbollah started really with the death of Muhammad, not Hezbollah, Shiite faith really. Started with, I mean, the sparkle actually, not the Shiite faith. Started with the death of Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam. Muhammad had, his sons died when they were infants, and he was left with his daughters. The youngest one married his cousin. His name, let me say that Muhammad is buried in Medina, in Saudi Arabia today. Medina is north of Mecca, and his this is his grave, and nobody could go there except the prince of Medina or the king or any. So Muhammad had gave his youngest daughter in marriage. Her name was Fatima, to his cousin and protege Ali. Ali like Muhammad Ali Clay, Ali. So Ali was took in marriage Muhammad's favorite daughter, and he had only 2 sons from her. This is very important for our discussion today. Hassan and Hussein, okay? Hassan means good, Hussein means less good, kind of. It's a diminutive, So, Ali was one of the brave soldiers of Muhammad, Okay, if you have any question, interrupt me because there's a lot of information and I'm trying to simplify things. Ali was one of the braves of Muhammad. Muhammad claimed first to be a prophet, then he became a warrior and a king too, you know. So he used to send Ali to assassinate his enemies. So Ali was like, you know, one of the braves that he used in Shiites to revere even the sword of Ali. They said he had a special sword with two razors, like this is the one, you know, you see in the yeah. It has a name, you know. So one of the things that Shiites claim today is that only Shiite sources have this narrative that Muhammad, before he died, said he blessed Ali and kind of insinuated that Ali would succeed him, okay? But actually, when Muhammad died, Ali did not succeed him. He was the youngest man in the companions of Muhammad, okay? And the Arabs respect white hair a lot, gray hair, so they won't really elect a young person to lead the community. So they kind of chose Muhammad's father-in-law. His name was Abu Bakr, who ruled, you know, only 2 years, you know. So Ali was frustrated, they say, disappointed that he did not succeed his father-in-law. Also, when Abu Bakr died after 2 years, another companion of Muhammad who was a very strong person took over and nobody could question him. He was kind of the successor by default, kind of, because he was the first caliph's assistant. Caliph means successor. This is a very important word in Islam, caliph. Caliph means successor of Muhammad. So Umar succeeded him, and who ruled 10 years, you know. And then Umar was assassinated by a Persian person, because, you know, the Arabs spread and conquered Iran and North Africa, and the Persians became, and the non-Arabs became the majority among Muslims, and they started to ask for their rights. And Umar was very kind of pro-Arab. He didn't really wanted to give rights to the non-Arab Muslims. So Umar was stabbed by this Persian who was a prince in his country and was captured by the Muslims in one of their campaigns. Umar gave his instructions for his entourage of 6 people to elect one person to succeed him. They did not succeed Ali, they succeeded Uthman. Let me go back here. Yeah. They succeeded Uthman, okay, and Uthman was Muhammad's son-in-law twice, okay, and he was a rich man from a rich clan in Arabia, in Mecca. So he was very powerful, and Ali was younger. So he ruled for 12 years. Okay, so with Uthman, yeah.
So one of the things it said, Uthman, I think it says collected the Quran.
Yes.
So that, what is that? Does that mean he collected all of Muhammad's sayings?
No, not. The Quran is claimed to be the statements Muhammad received from Allah directly, meaning and language, verbatim, not verbatim, not really, you know, kind of. Statements of Muhammad called hadith were collected 200 years after his death, after Muhammad's death, you know. So the Quran is collected 20 years, I mean, in a book after Muhammad's death, but it was compiled in a room first in his wife, one of his wives, the daughter of Umar, the second caliph, and they were kind of tablets and scrolls and what have you. So this is a traditional story, you know, narrative, you know, but there are other theories, but this is a traditional one. So they said that the Quran, the Book of Islam, was collected because it was an oral tradition in the beginning. Then it was some people had it on scrolls and pieces of wood and stone. So, excuse me. So, this first caliph ordered the collection of those, tablets and scrolls, what have you, and they were kept in the room, one of Muhammad's wives. So Uthman was the first one, according to the traditional narrative, that put the Quran in a book like we know today, the Bible, like the Bible book. So that was one of his achievements, So there was a scribe, but they did not collect them like you think. The papyrus or papyri were very expensive, so sometimes they wrote on wood or stone or didn't write, So there's a lot of loopholes in the narrative, really, Yeah. This is what they claim, yeah. Yeah. He was illiterate. So one of the things that I used to compare between the Muslim faith and the Christian faith is that Muhammad's only miracle is the Quran. Muhammad's only miracle is the Quran. He didn't have any other miracles. So what was the miracle of the incarnation? Mary, the Virgin Mary, gave birth to Jesus. So Muhammad the illiterate gave the word of Allah. So it's like, yeah. So, yeah.
So during this time, as a leader, are they basically, because they started out in what's now Saudi Arabia today.
Yes.
And then does that mean they were expanding the Muslim faith like into Iraq and Iran?
Yeah, during the days of Muhammad, his life, they were able to conquer all of Arabia. Then his companions carried the faith outside what we know today, Syria, Iraq, and North Africa.
So they hadn't yet gotten to where Israel is down yet?
No, they did. In 636 AD.
I'm sorry?
636. So,
Within 2 years?
yeah, 4 years after the death of Muhammad, they conquered Jerusalem. Yeah, right. Okay, so again, why Sunnis and Shias are at loggerhead. So Uthman was from a very powerful and rich family, in Arabia, and he ruled for 12 years. So, and 12 years was a long time, and he was nepotistic, so he, as we said, he collected the Quran. So Uthman, what he did is that he appointed one of his cousins the ruler of the Big Apple, New York, the other cousin the ruler of the Golden State, California. Okay? So why do I'm saying this? He appointed Uthman, one of his cousins, the ruler of Damascus. Syria was the richest place in the Fertile Crescent. Okay? Syria, because of agriculture, was the richest place in the Fertile Crescent. So he appointed his cousin, the ruler of the governor of Damascus. The other cousin, governor of Egypt. Also, Egypt was one of the richest countries, in the old world, Alexandria was like Rome, So while the Persians and the converts from other races, ethnicities, did not get their chance to be part of the government. So after 12 years, there was a rebellion against Uthman, okay, and they put his home under siege, and after 40 days, they climbed the fence and killed him while he was reading the Quran, So that's really kind of one of the things that Muslims talk about, yeah. He burned all the Quranic scrolls and tablets, what have you, and because he wanted to edit the Quran into a book, so he refused some of the narratives and accepted some. Yeah, yeah. So he burned everything. He assigned a scribe who headed the editorial board, if we can call it, and then burned everything. You know. Yes. So he was assassinated, and Muhammad's cousin Ali and son-in-law was implicated in that, but not really. There was no evidence. Okay. So we come back here to Ali, who succeeded Uthman. He was the most prominent companion of Muhammad, and Shiite revere him a lot. The Shiite faith was not yet born, okay? So we'll talk how it was born. So Ali took over, but the cousin Muhammad, the slain caliph's cousin in Damascus did not recognize him. He said, if Biden would be assassinated and the vice president is implicated, there's something fishy. So the governor of Damascus said, bring us the assassins to be punished and we'll recognize you. Ali did not do that, but he started a civil war, They kind of started a civil war between them, and there were a few battles that Ali was winning, and the main battle was actually in Syria, when Ali was outmaneuvered because the last battle was in Syria. Ali was maneuvered by the governor of Damascus told him, let us put our arms aside and let the Quran govern between us, the book of Allah. So it was a maneuver, and the governor of Damascus, was Ali later. I mean, there are a lot of details, I can't go into them because some of his supporters said, why is he compromising? We were winning, we were victorious. We should kill both the governor of Damascus and kill Ali and elect somebody among us. So they were able to assassinate Ali, but they couldn't assassinate the governor of Damascus. The governor of Damascus became the caliph by default, okay? And, Ali was killed, as I said, in South Iraq. I didn't say that really. He was killed in South Iraq, and his tomb today is a site of pilgrimage to Shiite Muslims, Thousands, maybe millions come every year to visit his tomb, and some of them really, it's very complicated to explain the status of Ali in the Shiite faith. Some Shiites are very radical, and they portray him as we say about Jesus, he's the Logos, the Word of God, and incarnation. And so some Shiites, like those who rule Syria, they think that or believe that Ali was the incarnation of the Creator, So that's not regular Shiites. So there are, and some really think that he's going to be the judge on doomsday. So that's another, sect of the Shiites, So the governor of Damascus ruled for many years, and he came up with another idea which was new to the Arabic culture, that he wanted his son to succeed, and come be after him. Under his rule, many countries or provinces were conquered, and it was a very rich empire, and so he wanted his son to succeed him, and but Ali's son revolted. His name was Hussein. Rebelled against the caliph Muawiyah, who was before that the governor of Damascus, and he wanted to make it right, as he said, but what he did was a foolish thing, you know. You should remember this name, Hussein. So he rode with his entourage of 110 people from Mecca and Medina to Iraq, because the Iraqis, if I can call them Iraqis, promised him support. When he arrived in Iraq, he found out that nobody wanted to fight with him, while the successor in Damascus, the new caliph, sent troops. They surrounded Hussein and beheaded him, okay, and killed all his entourage except one son, you know, was a baby, and they sent his head to Damascus, okay. So the body of Hussein is buried in Karbala. Karbala is in Iraq, south of Baghdad. So both Ali and Hussein are buried, his son, Hussein is Ali's son, are buried in South Iraq. So the story really of Shiites starts with Hussein, you know, so why it starts with Hussein? Because Shiites believe that Hussein was the person anointed by Allah to, if I can say anointed, to go and set history right and dethrone the new caliph in Damascus and set history right, you know. But he died for a good cause. So for Shiites, Hussein is like for us, Jesus, you know. This is why sometimes it's easier to share the gospel with Shiites than Sunnis, because they have somebody who died, you know, for them, if I can say, you know. So Shiites believe that Hussein died for a good cause, and they need really vengeance. They need to set history right by claiming back the leadership of the Muslim community. But something they believed in, which is later that is nomos, if I can say, antinomian, against the Orthodox Islam. They believe that anybody from the progeny of Muhammad, descended from Muhammad's daughter, has holy blood. So you have Ali married Muhammad's daughter Fatima. The children of Fatima, Hassan and Hussein, bequeath their holy blood to their descendants, okay, because they are descendants by maternal, you know, descendants from Muhammad, you know. So the Shiites in all countries almost mourn the death of Hussein by doing processions. Even in Toledo, Ohio, in Michigan, okay, in Dearborn, Michigan, there are processions where they mourn the death. Actually, they first enact the death of Hussein, the death of Hussein in processions. They enact it in dramatic, you know, plays, you know, a mock, you know, play, and then they walk in processions and hit themselves with razors and swords and torture themselves, grieving or mourning the death of Hussein, their leader. So these are really bloody images from different parts of the world, from Lebanon, from Syria, where there are Shiites, from Iraq, from Pakistan, etc. Yeah, real blood. So they cut really an incision and hit themselves, and blood spurts out, you know. Yeah, right. So this is in Afghanistan. There are some Pakistan. There are some Shiites there, you know. And in Philippines, really, they enact the death of Jesus on the cross. So I thought this is really a comparison as well, you know. Yeah. So and actually in Philippines they do crucify, you know, somebody, not really crucify, hang him on the cross. These are very small writings that I'll just want you to know that the Shiites believe that there are 12 imams, okay, Ali is Muhammad's son-in-law, okay, the first Imam, and his descendants, the other 11, are also come with sacred blood, and they were the leaders of the Shiite community, which is different from the majority of Muslims who are Sunni, okay? So the Shiites were, and still a minority in the Muslim world, okay? So one of the things that really makes them close to, in some parts of their faith to Christianity, is that they believe that the last Imam disappeared and will come back, okay? And he lived in the 9th century, so he is now more than 1,000 years old, okay? And he's gonna come back and lead them to victory over Sunni Muslims, over Jews, and over Christians as well, okay? So, and they believe in, they have description, physical description of him, that he looks like Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, and that he will appear suddenly in Mecca and then lead the Shiite faith, the Shiite community to, you know. So in Iran, they believe that the more havoc they wreak in the world, the faster the Shiite Mahdi, the awaited Imam, will come back. It's like some Christian denomination that they believe the more tribulation in the world, the Jesus will come back faster, if you have heard that before, you know. So there are 12 Imams, right? And 12 disciples, right? So here you go. So it's really very similar in a way or another, you know. So, and they believe that when the Imam, the Mahdi comes, the lion will lie with the camel, okay? Like, you know, the lion will lie with the lamb, okay? They believe when the Imam comes, the Mahdi comes, the lion will lie with the camel or with the lamb, etc. So, so this map shows really where the Shiites are concentrated in the Muslim world, okay? So they are mainly in Iran, Iraq, South Lebanon, and Yemen, okay? There are some in Syria, but they are a very small minority. They are the radical Shiites that believe that Allah is Ali, actually, you know? Their God is Ali, okay? So, any questions so far? So they are still a minority. You have 1.7 billion Muslims, only 15% are Shiites, okay? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, but I mean, yeah, so we need to talk a little bit about, you know, sorry. Yeah, let me see what's the slide here I have, okay. Yeah, so we need to talk a little bit about the Palestinian-Israeli struggle, because the creation of Hezbollah really started with the Israeli invasion of Lebanon in 1982. So what I'm going to talk about, the Israeli struggle here with Palestinians, is very relevant, okay? So when we talked last time about that the Arabs rejected the UN resolution of the establishment of Israel. They tried to wipe Israel off the map in 1948, but the Arabs failed and Israel was able to win. But the Jordanians took the West Bank and the Egyptians took the Gaza Strip. Later in 1967, this was a very traumatic war for the Arabs. The Arabs were preparing to invade Israel when Israel dealt them a preemptive strike and destroyed 6 Arab armies, okay, in 6 days, and captured thousands of soldiers, Arab soldiers, okay, and you know, and occupied the West Bank and Sinai and Gaza as well, okay? So Israel became larger, okay? And with that war, why this war is important, it was traumatic, because Muslims kind of felt that they are following Islam, but they are failing. Why? Because they trusted the Soviet Union or trusted the West. They felt that all secular answers to their maladies, their economical problems, their political problems, their social problems, or the secular solutions failed. Maybe they should go back to Islam. And this has really led to the Islamic revival. I want to talk a little bit also about one of the more important factors after 1967 that also led to the creation of Hezbollah is the creation of the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, and the control of the Palestinian militias over South Lebanon. Okay, South Lebanon was mainly Shiite. Okay, and the Shiites really felt the brunt of the militias, Palestinian militias who ruled supreme in South Lebanon, and started shooting at Israel from there, and Israel used to shoot back and destroy the villages. Okay, the Shiite villages really suffered a lot from the destruction that was happened because of the Palestinian militias who were shooting at Israel. So this was a very important factor in the creation of Hezbollah later, because the Shiites really kind of started to think what they're going to do. So Lebanon, I have to talk about Lebanon as well. Lebanon was a different country in the Middle East. Lebanon was first countries that I'm talking here first about Mount Lebanon that became Christian, and they had their own patriarch. Okay, Saint John was the first patriarch in Lebanon in 685 AD. So when the World War I took place and the Allied forces invaded the Middle East, the Lebanese sent a delegate, their patriarch, to Versailles, and wanted Lebanon to become a Christian nation, like Israel for the Jews, Lebanon for the Christians. The Allied forces said, well, you have Shiites and Sunnis. We need to have a compromise. So they created Greater Lebanon that included the Christian Mount Lebanon, and the Sunni coast, which are Sunni, the Mediterranean coast, and the Shiite south, all together Greater Lebanon. And they, the Allied forces created different countries in those days, and they made it a mandate that to make the Christians feel good, that no one can become president unless they are Christian. So we had the first Christian president in Lebanon in 1923, okay, and the last Christian president, this man with the Pope, okay, he was the last one who took over 6 years, actually now 7 years ago. Then when his term ended, they couldn't replace him because Iran doesn't want a president who would be an ally of the West. They wanted a puppet who they could control. Okay, we'll talk more about this. This is why Lebanon is a special country. Lebanon is the only place where 50% of the population used to be Christian. Now the Christian is 13%, okay? 13% only. So Lebanon, the Shiites, as I said, suffered from the Palestinians. So the Christians in Lebanon in the beginning were against the Palestinian militias. They didn't want the Palestinian militias to shoot at Israel, but the Palestinians were able to create a state within a state, and this is a distribution of the sects in Lebanon. We have 18 sects, but mainly Christian and Muslims. Okay, so you have the south, which was the purple. Okay, is mainly Shiite, and also some parts of the Bekaa Valley. I mean, concerned now just about the Shiites because it's our really topic. I don't want to talk more about other denominations here. So Lebanon is a country of they call it contradictions. Sorry for this, but I mean we need to show that it is a country of contradictions where you have a Western communities living alongside radical Muslims. You see, and I mean Lebanon is the only country in the Christian areas where women can go in bikinis and swim, without anybody, harassing them, what have you. Okay, so another one. So Lebanon used to be dubbed the Switzerland of the Middle East. Okay, you can ski and swim in one day in Lebanon. So I want to go back to the 1967 war because, as I said, because it was very traumatic. Okay, as I said, the Muslims and the Arabs were following Islam and they were defeated by Israel, and this led to an Islamic revival. So they said the line was like this: we tried the Soviets, we tried the West, we both failed, secular solutions failed, now maybe we should try Islam. So the Muslim Brotherhood led a revival in the Muslim world, as well as the Iranian Revolution in 1979. That was a very important date in the history of the Islamic world. 1979, when both Afghanistan fell in the hands of the Soviets, and then the Mujahideen started their war against the Soviets. The Mujahideen, some of them were led by bin Laden, as well as the fall of the Shah of Iran in 1979, and Khomeini later took over. So those were very important, years in the history of the Islamic world, when the Sunni world started having a revival, and the Shiite world as well having a revival towards, establishing Islamic Sharia, communities. Okay, and any questions so far? I want you to wake up. Okay, any questions? No questions. So the Iranian Revolution was very aggressive. What I mean by aggressive is that they wanted to spread their version of Shia Islam all over where there are Shiite people. Where are the Shiites? Do you remember in the Muslim world? Where are the Shiites? I mean the concentration. Iraq and South Lebanon and Yemen. Okay? So they thought they'll begin with them. So they started funding radical groups in those countries, okay, especially Lebanon, okay, because Lebanon was a failing democracy, okay, and one of the things that some of you remember, not the young people, the hostage, situation that the Khomeini was very anti-Western and took the embassy employees as hostages for 444 days. And it was a big problem for America that failed to free the hostages without compromise. So after that, the Israelis, because of the Palestinian militias shooting from South Lebanon, they had to invade Lebanon in 1982 and destroy some parts of Beirut. And then they forced the Palestinian militias out, okay? So, where were the Palestinian militias mainly in Lebanon? A question, do you remember? The Palestinian militias, where were they in Lebanon? In the north or in the south? In the south, okay. So Israelis destroyed the south, then moved to Beirut, and then ousted the Palestinian militias, okay? So it started a big vacuum of power, and the war between the Christians and Muslims and Palestinians and what have you started to rage, yeah.
So if there was no country of Palestine?
No, there is no country.
Where did they get the name? Where
Yeah.
are they from us?
Yeah, well, last time we talked about the British put a mandate on the province and called it Palestine with Jordan first, you know. So there were from 1923 till 1947, there were Jewish Palestinians, Muslim Palestinians, Christian Palestinians, okay? So when the UN resolution of two-state solution was issued, the Jews accepted the resolution, the Jewish state, the Arab Palestinians rejected it, okay? So those who rejected it became nothing, you know, not really Palestinian, okay? Because there was no Palestine anymore, okay?
What was the location? What province?
The province was between Lebanon and Egypt, you know, and east of Jordan, west of Jordan today, you know. So we can go to the map, really, you know, let me see here. We go to a map, okay. I mean, I didn't expect such a question, you know. Yeah, okay. You see the map here, okay. The yellow part was Mandate Palestine, okay, with the West Bank, you know. So when the UN resolution came out, the Jews accepted a state solution, Jewish state, the Arabs rejected the solution. That's 1947 and waged war, okay. So in 1982, as I said, Israel had to invade Lebanon to oust the Palestinian militias, and the United Nations gave a resolution, issued a resolution forming a peace, an international peacekeeper force that included many nations, mainly Americans, Italians, French, what have you, okay? Mainly European countries, okay? Not Arab countries, okay? The Arabs always did not want to interfere. How much time do we have?
It's just after 10.
15 more minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, soon. Okay, so the international keepers came to Beirut and stopped the war, okay? The war between, you know, the Palestinians and the Israelis, and installed a president, but that year really witnessed the creation of Hezbollah, because Iran thought, how can I fight America? First they fought America, taking the embassy employees as hostages. Now they have Americans in Lebanon. So that they thought they would create a militia that would fight Americans in Lebanon. Okay, so one of the founders of the Hezbollah in the early days was Imad Mughniya. He hijacked the TWA aeroplane in Beirut. TWA, most of you don't remember this maybe, and he discovered there's a Marine, U.S. Marine in the plane, in civilian clothes. He killed him and threw him on the tarmac. He was so kind of vicious, you know. And he was one of the founders of Hezbollah, okay. So we need to understand that what happened in Beirut in 1982, 83, 84 was not a struggle only between Shiite militias and America. It was a struggle between the axis of evil, which was the Soviet Union, Iran, and Syria, against the West, okay? We have to understand that, and we are still really struggling against the same axis, Syria, Iran, and Russia now, instead of, you know, so added to it China, you know. So anyway, so the first days of the creation of Hezbollah witnessed suicide bombings, okay? The first one was the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. My uncle worked there. He wasn't killed. He was outside smoking a cigarette. 60 plus people were killed, okay? And then the U.S. Marines and the French Marines had two suicide bombings. 241 Marines were killed, and 56 French Marines were killed, okay, in that bombing. Reagan was in a year of elections, so he ordered the troops to withdraw, and he thought that the US Marines are a losing horse in the election, okay? So that was a wrong move, because in the Middle East, withdrawal means victory for the enemy, you know? So I was before I left Beirut, I interviewed the former president of Lebanon who was friends with Reagan. And he told me, Mr. Hisham, President Reagan, he used to play tennis with Reagan. And Reagan called him his son, you know. And they wanted really to rebuild Lebanon, you know, through American aid, you know, like the Marshall Plan, you know. And but President Reagan left us to hang and dry, you know, when he pulled out, you know. And it was, he started reaping really, because it destroyed his government, you know, and the Shiite militias took over. Okay, so that year, 1982, 83, 84, witnessed the creation of this militia, you know, and now one of the things that always say in the media that, oh no, Hezbollah is a social movement, political movement, I tell them no. Hezbollah is a militia that does social work and political work to keep their position and their arms, their weapons, you know. Because after the civil war ended in Lebanon, all militias had to hand in their weapons except Hezbollah, because they said we are resisting Israel, you know, and we need to keep our weapons. Israel withdrew and they kept their weapons because they really were defiant and nobody could fight them. They are stronger than the Lebanese army. The Lebanese army is maybe 30,000 soldiers. Hezbollah is 100, you know. So, and they have better weapons. I worked with the Prime Minister of Lebanon who wanted to rebuild the country after the civil war. His name was Rafiq Hariri. Hezbollah, in collaboration with Syria, assassinated him. He was a tycoon, and I worked 6 years with him. And so they assassinated the prime minister, and since 2005, they started to take over in the country bit by bit, and now they control Lebanon. So they control the government, and they don't let a good president to be elected. They want a president who is a pro-Iranian ally, okay? So let me go quick here from my side. So Hezbollah has 130,000 rockets, and they believe that they could really destroy Israel. They are also involved in terrorism outside Israel and Lebanon. They struck in 1994 a Jewish community in Buenos Aires in Argentina and killed 85 Jews, you know. So wherever there are Jews, you know, they may be under, you know, surveillance from Hezbollah. There are sleeper cells here in the West, you know, Hezbollah, especially in Dearborn, Michigan, where there's 300,000 Shiite who are of Lebanese origin, Shiite Americans of Lebanese origin. There are 300,000. There are Shiite Muslims who support Hezbollah in New York, okay, and these are what's Hezbollah's aim, Hezbollah's manifesto. Our first objective is to fight against what American and Israeli imperialism, including Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon and other territories. So Hezbollah functions as a proxy of Iran, and they say that they get their salaries, their weapons, and everything from Iran, okay? And they always say we want to destroy Israel and pray in Jerusalem with Hamas and what have you. So what are the sources of Hezbollah's funding, okay? Funding of Hezbollah comes from the Iranian government first, Lebanese groups all over in the West and Africa, okay? Business people in Michigan, South America, especially South America, the Lebanese diaspora, wherever there are Shiites, they support Hezbollah, okay? Especially that in Africa they are involved in the diamond trade and they smuggle diamonds, and also in drug trafficking. Hezbollah and the Syrian government are some of the largest, producers of a drug called Captagon, okay, that they take like pills, and really it's like, like hashish, but it's in pills. And they really smuggle and produce a lot of things, of these, and yeah. Sorry? Who kills them? If they are caught, they are detained usually. Yeah, but Hezbollah is doing the trafficking. They are in power, so nobody could stop them. With the Syrian government as well, So they smuggle to different places in the world, especially from the Mexican border, to Saudi Arabia, and also the tithes, Shiites pay 5% of their income to Hezbollah, to their Shiite clerics. So yeah, I need to end here. Your questions. Hopefully I did not overwhelm you with the information, because there's a lot of stuff we can talk about, but this is in short really the Hezbollah militia that really wants to eradicate Israel, and establish a Shiite government in that extends from Iran to Iraq and Syria and Lebanon, as well as Yemen. They call it the Shiite Crescent. Yeah.
I was watching a program about Abraham and the three great prophets.
Yeah.
That when Hagar was banished to the desert, God brought her back and then gave the same blessing to
Yes. Ishmael.
Ishmael that he gave to Abraham. And he said the sword will never leave their hand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why they use two swords.
Yeah.
So there'll never be peace.
I thought in the message that it's a culture of hate, so there'll never be peace, even if you eradicate Israel, Shiites and Sunnis will fight, and they are fighting already, the Saudis and the Iranians are at logger's head, yeah.
I thought that God said there'll never be peace between.
Yeah, when the line in Genesis 16 that says he'll be a wild donkey of a man, yeah, and his hand will be against everybody and everybody's hand against him. It really expresses something, right. Any other question?
Where you do your ministry, are they Shiite or
I have some Shiites, who come, I have both Shiites, Sunnis. Now we have some Christian Arabs, Sudanese are coming, So we help all, but mainly, usually Muslims, yeah. But both Shiites and Sunnis, yeah. Yeah, they don't really. Here in America, we try to really help them become neutral, Yeah. Yeah, but in wherever there are mosques, like the imam of the mosque in Dearborn is Iranian, okay, and he promotes the Iranian ideology, okay, yeah. So, any other questions? Yeah.
It's not a question, Hussein was the Muslim, correct?
Who?
Hussein.
Hussein, yeah, the grandson of Muhammad.
We had President Barack Hussein Obama.
Oh yeah. If you're born a Muslim, from a Muslim father, you're a Muslim usually. This is a tradition. But I cannot really tell, that's because he said he kind of converted or whatever. Sunni. Only Iran, 60% of Iraqis, and 40% now, maybe 35% of Lebanese are Shiites. And Yemen, maybe half-half, 50-50. Okay? Yeah. But they are different. So those who believe in the 12 Imams are the majority of Shiites. I didn't want to complicate for you. So the Iranians and the Iraqi Shiites believe in the 12 Imams. They call them the Twelvers. While the Yemenis believe in that the seventh Imam will come back, not the 12th Imam, okay? And they are, the Alawites in Syria, they believe that Allah became Ali, okay? So that's really kind of more radical, you know? Yeah, and they don't have usually mosques. They have mosques, but they don't pray 5 times a day. They are esoteric, okay? Any last question? I think we're done, right? Any last question? Everything is clear, so you can write a PhD, dissertation on that. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you in the message. Thank you. Yeah. I had to come early to. Can we stop it? Stop the recording. Yeah, I woke up at 2 in the morning, and I saw there are 2 slides missing, and when I tried to go back to sleep, so I drove to the oasis here often. I said, fix the missing parts. I'm sorry that I can't be more simple, but that's why I made some mistakes.